Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the Real or Real podcast. Yay! This is a podcast where we like to talk about spooky, ooky things and, true crime and stuff, except our thing is that it's kind of gamified a bit. It's basically where we're going to tell a story. And it is up to the listener to decide if this is a true report of something that happened, or is it the fictional story to some intellectual property, video game, book, movie, TV show, whatever. My name is Bone Dragon, and joining me, as always, is the awesome
Pixie Dusted.
Yay, Pixie! Everybody applauds Pixie and everybody just kind of looks at me. All right, so Pixie has a story for us tonight.
I do.
But as usual, we kind of need to do a little bit of house cleaning first. So, Pixie, are there any trigger warnings that we need to worry about here?
The only thing I can think of possibly is child endangerment.
Oh, okay. Kind of gives you a little bit of a clue.
I think that's it.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a lighter story today.
Oh, all right, good. All right, cool. Well, with that being said, and those kind of intriguing little clues, let's go ahead and jump into our story.
Let me tell you a story.
All right. So here we are. We are ready to hear this amazing story from Pixie. All right. Let's hear what you got.
All right, here we are. And where are we? We are in Paris, France.
France.
Yes.
The home
the
of
year-
baguettes and crepes and other French foods.
Is that all that Paris is to you as food?
That's all I care about.
All right. Well, the year is 1908.
Okay.
And let's set the stage. Let me paint you a picture of what Paris was like in 1908.
Okay, my eyes are closed. I'm ready to imagine whatever this is.
All right. So, you know what Paris looks like today.
Yes.
All right. Well, it wasn't that different in 1908, even though it was 100 years ago.
Okay.
In 1900, Paris had just had a World's Fair, l'Exposition de Paris.
Ooh, very nice.
Oui, oui. So, so a lot of the famous landmarks that you recognize in Paris were already there in 1908. The Eiffel Tower, the Champs-Élysées,
Yeah.
and of course, the River Seine, the famous river in Paris, which was recently became even more famous because the what was it, the 2023 Olympics? They had them swimming in the Seine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's like highly polluted. Like it's one of the most polluted bodies of water around. So it wasn't any different in 1908. You know, when you think of Paris, you think of like the cobblestone streets and the food and romance and flowers. And the reality is, Paris is a very dirty city. Nothing against Paris. You know, New York's a dirty city too. There are dirty cities everywhere. But
Congratulations. You've won a gold medal and a tail.
Exactly. So I mean, you know, Paris is a grungy place.
All right.
Okay? And in 1908, it very much so because that was like, you know, you're at the height of the Industrial Revolution. So you've got uh, chemical pollutants, you've
Okay.
got smog, you've got just with smog you get like that layer of dirt that settles over everything. So Paris is pretty, but it's a dirty place in 1908.
Kind of like
It's
how where we live, there's that nice layer of sand that just covers
right, exactly. It
everything.
settles out of the air.
Yeah.
So Paris is a dirty place. And also in 1908, which it's over 100 years ago, um, it wasn't rural and rudimentary, but the sewage system, plumbing was definitely different than it is in modern times.
I would think so.
So the River Seine was full of runoff from chemicals from these factories, sewage,
Oh, yeah.
just all types of contamination.
Just grossness.
Just it was a nasty thing.
All right.
So you didn't really want to be in that water. Because of, it's disgusting. And then there's chances of catching typhoid and cholera and dysentery, So diseases in
I
addition
mean,
to the chemical runoff that's in it.
where we used to live, there was this whole idea because we used to live in Kentucky and there was, you had the Ohio River going by, and everybody always joked about how absolutely toxic it would be to go swimming in the Ohio River. I mean, yeah, it was dangerous, but not because of the pollution, but we always joked about, what new body part you were going to come out with after you took a dip. I imagine that, this is probably a lot worse than that.
Well, yeah, because you're coming it's the turn of the century. Not this century, last century. So,
Right.
it's not as industrialized. We're just now getting into using electric things, switching over from gas powered stuff, as far as lights and motors and things. We're switching over to electric powered things. Electricity is becoming the new big invention.
They're starting to set up the infrastructures and everything like that.
Right. So, the world that we know today was very much in its infancy in 1908.
Okay.
So Paris 1908 was a very industrial city. And we've talked a lot about the River Seine because the story that I'm going to tell you revolves around this river, focuses on this river.
Okay. That sounds interesting. I wonder where we're going with this.
Me too.
You did.
Getting into the actual story, now that we have this full picture of what Paris was like, a very industrial city, very dirty, very grimy, very easy to catch diseases, especially if you were to fall into the River Seine.
Ugh.
So along the banks of the River Seine at this time, it wasn't just, you think of like riverbanks nowadays, especially like what we're used to in our country. There's usually not much going on a riverbank.
Right.
But that wasn't the case in Paris, especially since they just came off of the World Fair. A lot of the stuff was built with the River Seine going through that. So you have a lot of large permanent structures that were built for that fair that are still there, like large conservatory looking buildings, huge statues. So it would be a busy, bustling place on the riverbanks. People would be wandering around. They'd be selling their wares off of little carts or who knows, out of their coat.
Okay.
On little blankets, there'd be businesses down there. There would be things to do. It would be a place that,
It was
people,
a hub.
yeah, well, it wasn't really a hub, but it would be a busy place, a place where people would be hanging out,
Okay.
where kids would be gathering and playing around. So
Kind of like a marketplace or something.
somewhat, yeah,
Yeah.
the Gallenberg.
Okay. Okay. I get you.
Maybe
I get you.
similar to that, okay? There was stuff going on. It wasn't just, go hang out down by the riverbank. It wasn't a car under the bridge by the river.
So not so much a touristy type of thing, but just
Right, but
kind of,
just a normal
just somewhere to hang
busy
out.
town area.
Right.
Okay, so it was normal for children to be playing in this area, running through the crowds, playing around, doing things. I don't know, maybe some hoop and stick. Who knows?
Fun. Let's go
Maybe-
play some ball in a cup.
Maybe a rock. Who knows
right.
what they were doing?
Let's throw rocks at the butcher.
Who knows what was going on down there? But it was normal for children to play down by the River Seine. Now, the River Seine doesn't just flow through Paris. Like, it's not confined to the city.
Right.
It goes on well past Paris. And there were little communities that lived on the outskirts of the city near the river.
Okay.
And one of these little communities on the outskirts of the river, there was a man that lived there who owned a large black Newfoundland dog, and his name was Cole.
His name was Cold?
Cole.
Coal.
Coal.
Coal. So
Yeah.
like burning coals.
Yes, the dog's name was Cole.
Oh,
Probably
the
because
dog's
the dog's
I
name
thought
was
the guy's
Cole.
name was Cole. I was like, wait
Oh
a
my
minute.
goodness.
What kind of a Frenchman names himself Cole? What is wrong with that?
We'll say that the owner's name was Pierre, just for the sake of keeping
Sure.
up with people, okay? So the owner's
Okay.
name was, I'm not sure of the name of the owner. That was never discussed. We'll say the name of the owner was Pierre, and the dog's name was Cole because he was black.
Okay.
So the man and the dog lived on the outskirts of Paris, right near the River Seine,
Okay.
where children would be playing and people would be doing their daily things. And one day, the dog was just roaming around because I guess he was like a free range dog. And not like today, where our pets are very, very domesticated, and most of us,
Free range dogs.
he was wild.
Yes.
Most of us with our pets like to have them in the house with us and stay with us or stay in our yards. We like to keep an eye on them, but
Yeah.
it wasn't so much the case back then. A lot of people that had dogs, they were working animals. They had
Yeah,
them for
they had
a
a
reason.
purpose.
They would herd sheep, they would herd geese, they would fetch things. They did a job, and not so much that this dog had a job, but they weren't as pampered as they are now.
Right. A working
was-
dog is a dog that
It was more
pretty
common
much-
for dogs to just be running around the street and then go home,
Right.
when they were ready to go home.
Yeah.
So the dog hangs out in the bustling city part, up and down the River Seine, just hanging out, checking people out, doing things, trying
playing in
to,
the dust.
trying to scrounge up some scraps, maybe get a few
Breathing in the
handouts,
smog.
and play with the kids.
Oh yeah.
Because you know how kids are. They see a dog, they're I'll pet that dog. They're gonna want to play with the dog.
Yeah, but here's the thing. At that time, I don't know if that was so much a thing because people knew, dogs were kind of, at that time they were a bit more of a danger.
Well, also too, this is a Newfoundland, so this is a big dog.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with the breed, but it is a large dog breed. They are big dogs.
Okay.
But I would assume, it's a friendly dog. So maybe the kids gave him a pat here and there every now and then. Maybe they played with him some. But anyway, he's hanging out in the city, doing his thing.
Right.
And one of the kids that was playing next to the river fell in.
Oh no.
So this kid, there's the possibility of drowning. There's the possibility of ingesting the polluted water. There's possibility of typhoid, dysentery, cholera. You could die from so many ways just by falling into the River Seine.
Or
No,
or you could get superpowers. According to Marvel logic,
Possibly.
according to Marvel logic, there is the ability, there's a very slight chance in this situation that you would get superpowers from this. I would imagine it'd probably be like, considering all the sewage that's in the river, you'd probably come out with like Turd Man, where you got the power to make people just all over themselves or something, or
That would be a
No.
terrible, terrible superpower.
oh, it would. Oh, I'm not saying this kid's going to be a superhero. He's probably going to be a villain. You know, this is the beginning of his villain arc,
Well, I mean, he is French.
taking revenge on everyone by making you your pants. Ah, ha, 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 ha.
So anyway, to my knowledge, the child did not get superhero powers.
Oh,
But the dog saw the child fall into the river. And I mean, you know, it's a common thing. Kids fall in, whatever. It's not like it was anything new. But the dog decided,
yeah, I don't think it's that
To-
common.
well, I mean, I think it would be because I mean, it's not like there were fences and stuff keeping people out of the river. You know, it's
Well,
just
I agree with that,
open.
but I don't think that people are just going to go walk by and be like, oh, there's another kid in the damn river. What the hell, man? It just keep walking, you know? Yeah.
Anyway, the
There's
dog
a
noticed.
pope in the road.
The dog noticed it first. So the
Okay.
dog jumped into the river and
As a good
pulled-
dog does.
as a good dog does. He's a good boy,
yes.
and pulled the child out of the river.
Hey, so
And
the
of
dog's
course,
a
you know,
superhero.
The dog is the superhero.
Hell yes.
So of course everybody's praising the dog. You know, good boy, Cole. And his owner finds out what he did. His owner Pierre,
Okay.
and gives him a steak for dinner.
Hell yeah. Well deserved steak.
So, in the following weeks, children started falling into the river at an increasing rate.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
It went from like, you know, once every now and then to once a week to a couple times a week,
Ugh.
to the point where the police were like, all right, we need to do a stakeout because there is somebody going around pushing people into the river. Because they would
Oh.
interview the kid, because like the dog would like jump in and save the kids
That's where
because he
they're
was
going.
always hanging out everywhere. He was always hanging out there.
Because
so,
I was
like-
thinking something totally different.
So
but
the dog
yeah.
would jump in and save the kids. And then the police would interview the kids and they're like, you know, who pushed you in? And they're like, or how did you fall? The first few was like, how did you fall? And they were like, I was pushed,
Oh.
but I didn't see who did it.
Oh no.
And so they kept interviewing them and they all had the same story every single time. I was pushed. I felt someone
Somebody
come up
pushed
behind me
in.
and push me in the river.
Okay.
So,
now
that's
we
how
have a
the
serial
police-
pusher.
Right. So that's how the police got to the point where they're like, okay, well, we're going to have to, you know, amp up our patrol of the area because somebody is, and it was only children. Somebody's pushing children into the river.
I'm sorry. Just give me this 1 second because I can't get the idea of a serial pusher out of my head. I'm picturing some dude on the street, like walking up to kids and opening his jacket and being like, hey, kids, you want some Lucky Charms? First one's free.
Okay.
I don't know. That's
I
that's
get
where
it.
my mind went.
Serial
That's
pusher.
where my
Yeah.
mind went. You know.
I just pictured in my head that, like, you know, kids are playing up and down the river and this guy's just walking past, just like pushing them. Just as he keeps walking, just he walks a
Or-
little farther, you know,
Or even
pushing
worse,
them into the river.
a box of grape nuts, like a human-sized
Oh my
box
God,
of
we're
grape
still on the
nuts,
cereal
is
thing.
walking along, and he just like on occasion just bumps into a kid. The kid goes flying off into the stinky river. Yeah, there you go. That's how I'm picturing this.
So the police realized that they had this issue that somebody's pushing kids into the river. And of course, that's not safe because
No.
of all of the things that I discussed, the multiple ways you could die from
Well,
being in the Seine.
not only that, and even if you lived, who's to say you didn't hurt yourself? Falling into the river like that, Lord knows what you're going to land on. How far up is the well, no, you said that he was on the side of the river, right?
Right. They're falling into the river from the banks.
From
But
the banks.
the banks of the
But
river
still,
Seine are walls.
yeah. I mean,
They're not,
there's so
like muddy riverbanks that you just tumble down. Like you're falling from like a ledge
okay, so
into the water.
there's that, plus Lord knows what's floating in there. You don't
Exactly.
know what you could land on. Plus, it's a pretty heavy river. I mean, it's a well-known river in Paris, so I'm imagining it's got some good flow going through it. So who's to say you don't get swept away, even with all the chemicals and the poo and everything that's in there? Like,
And also there's boat traffic.
exactly.
Yeah.
There's
You
all
have to watch
kinds of
out for
stuff going
that.
on with this river that if you fall in, a whole number of different things could happen.
Yeah,
You know?
multiple things could happen to you. So, and then another thing that the police were worried about was that, if somebody is brazen enough in broad daylight to be pushing children into the river, what if it escalates?
Yeah.
What if he starts doing other things to children, other nefarious things up into, sliming out these kids?
Getting them to listen to jazz and
Or like
reading comic books.
making a little army of children and turning them into thieves.
Oh,
Oh.
got a
But
little David Copperfield thing going on there.
so the police decided, hey, we've increased patrols. We still haven't found this person. We've done all the interviews on all the children that have fallen in who say they've been pushed. I think it's the point where we need to get some more manpower in on this investigation. And at multiple points up and down the river, we'll hide. We'll do a little stakeout to try to, see if we can see who's shoving these kids into the river.
Okay, because that makes sense.
So they did this, and it wasn't very long until they found the perpetrator of these crimes.
Oh, no. Was it the dog?
It was the dog.
Are you serious?
It was the dog. Cole
Oh my
had figured out.
God.
Cole had figured out that if he rescues a child from the river,
He gets a steak.
Pierre gives him a steak.
Oh my God. You're
So at
kidding
least a
me.
couple times a week, Cole was nudging kids into the river with his little nose so that he could jump in after them and save them and get his steak.
I just meant it as a joke. What the hell?
Nope, it was the dog. So he was a good boy, but he was also a little con doggy. He was running a scam.
Our little buddy Top, he's a very smart dog. He knows what he needs to do to make things happen, but he's also a very spoiled dog. So he likes to try to con us into doing things for him. So yeah, I see that happening.
So that's the police found out that it was the dog. They didn't press charges.
Well, how could they?
They just asked that Pierre keep his dog away from the banks of the River Seine.
Oh no.
So that the dog would stop pushing children into the river.
Poor Cole. Actually,
Poor Cole.
no, I take back my original thing where I was like, well, how could they prosecute? Actually, here's the thing. There was a time period, like long time ago, where people would actually prosecute animals for killing people. Like, there was a story of a pig that got taken to court, and they put this thing on in shackles and put it up on the defendant's whatever it's called, on the stand, and they had an actual court case around whether this pig was guilty or not. So, I mean, honestly, they probably could have, prosecuted the dog, but, I don't know.
Well, I find it interesting that they didn't ask for like the dog to be put to sleep or whatever, because it seems like if this happened today, that might be the direction that it would go in.
Yeah, I could see that because people would be like, oh, the dog's dangerous. It's hurting children and everything. Yeah, but I don't think he was trying to do anything maliciously, and I'm pretty sure that that's what the police were thinking too.
Yeah, I guess so. And I'm happy for that fact, but it's a short one tonight. That is the whole story.
Oh, wow. That's
it.
Crazy.
So now it is up to you to decide. Is this an E or an A?
When you first started telling this story, I thought that you were going to talk about the river. I can't remember which river it is, but
Same.
the river that caught on fire.
Oh, was that in London during the fire of London? Was the Thames on fire?
I don't know. I don't remember which river it was, but that's obviously not what we're talking about here.
No.
Let's see here. Dog pushing kids into the river.
To be a hero and get
steak. Huh. That is, I mean, honestly, that's one of those situations that I could see happening. One of those weird things, because as you and I both know, dogs can be smart enough to put two and two together. Still, I've never heard of this. And I won't say that I'm a master of weird history knowledge, but I do have some kind of experience with it. Huh. I think you probably had me stumped on this one. I'm going to say that this is real. This is real. This really happened.
All right. So this is an A.
Yes.
You are correct.
Hey!
This really happened. Let me read you the newspaper article from 1908.
Oh, fun.
From the New York Times.
Okay.
The headline reads, "Dog, a fake hero, pushes children into the Seine to rescue them and win beefsteaks." It's by a special correspondent for the New York Times, and it is dated January 22nd, 1908, Paris, France. Apropos of the decision of M. Lepine to employ dog auxiliaries for the patrol of lonely beats in the outskirts of Paris, a good story is now going the rounds concerning a splendid Newfoundland, which was a candidate at one of the recent field trials. The dog is the property of a man who lives on the banks of the Seine, just outside of Paris. Some time ago, a child playing on the riverbank fell into the water and was in imminent danger of being drowned. The dog, hearing the cries and the splashing, leapt over a hedge, ran down the bank, and plunged into the stream just in time to rescue the little victim. Naturally, the brave animal was made much of, and the father of the child, by way of recompense, presented him a succulent beefsteak.
Oh, yeah.
2 days later, another child fell into the water and was rescued by the dog. The lifesaver received the same caresses and another beefsteak. Up to this point, there was nothing extraordinary, but rescues became more and more frequent. Hardly a day passed but that some unfortunate infant was brought safely to the bank by the dog after an involuntary bath. It began to be suspected that the neighborhood was haunted by a mysterious criminal, and a special watch was inaugurated.
The serial pusher.
Then the truth came out. It was the dog, the noble lifesaver himself, that was the guilty one. Whenever he saw a child playing on the edge of the stream, he promptly knocked it into the water and then nonetheless promptly jumped in to the rescue. He had thus established for himself a profitable source of revenue.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's just.
And that made the news in the New York Times in 1908.
Hey.
That
when
dog's
there
got
was
moxie.
nothing. There was nothing else to talk about,
Well,
No,
I
that's
mean, you were pre World War One. There wasn't.
yeah.
It
There
was
wasn't a
kind of
whole lot to
a
really talk
quiet
about in the
period.
news. But
Yeah.
no, like that's I mean, you constantly hear about people who are like, "Oh, dogs are so dumb or so dumb." No, they're not. They're actually really smart. And for this is just further proof of that. Dog figured out pretty quickly how to get some steaks. All he has to do is just endanger the lives of children. That's
Yeah,
all.
he just had quite a little scam going on there. Well, I
Oh
mean,
my
in his
God.
head, all he put together was, "Hey, if I pull kids out of the river, I get steak and pets.
Yeah.
So I have to put kids in the river to pull kids out of the river." I mean, it makes sense.
Kind of like what's her name? The one that the Mormon lady who had all those kids and then she went to jail. What is her name? I don't remember. It doesn't matter. You know
Oh,
who I'm talking
are
about.
you talking about the 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 influencer lady?
Yeah, the one who was like, "Oh, I am so Mormon, yet I'm sleeping with another woman." Yeah.
Yeah, and that was abusing her children. Yeah,
Yeah. Her.
allegedly. I think she's still.
Sure.
Have they gone to trial yet?
I don't know. That's actually a really good question. Let's find out.
I think they have
Um,
gone to trial. I think they have gone to trial,
I think they did.
and they both got a sentence. I didn't continue following that story. It's a sad story. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole nother topic. I have issues with influencers using their children for content anyway.
Oh,
But
dude. I mean, like,
yeah,
you remember we used to do a vlog, and after a while, it just got to be like, we were like, you know what? This isn't fun. If we continue doing this, we're also going to be hurting the kid.
yeah,
You know, the kid was getting to the point where it was like, it wasn't fun anymore. So we were
yeah.
like, you know what? Let's just stop.
Yeah, they didn't want to be in it, which was fine because I didn't want them in it very often anyway. Because like I don't know. I'm very picky about the information on my children that I put out there on the internet.
Right. Exactly.
I'm
As you should be.
very
You should
guarded
be
about that.
protecting your children. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Ruby Frankie.
Yeah, that was her name.
Yeah, Ruby Frankie. And yeah, they went to trial and she pleaded guilty. I can't find where it says what her sentence was though. So
Well, I mean, if people are interested in that, they can Google it. It's out there.
well, it doesn't matter because
It's
now
Yeah.
we don't have to worry about saying alleged.
Allegedly,
She,
yeah.
she confessed.
She did it.
Yes, I did it. She pleaded
did it.
guilty. So all right.
Yeah. I hope everybody enjoyed today's story. I had fun telling it. It was a
I
nice,
had fun
lighthearted story.
listening to it.
I do believe this season that we should go a little lighter on the stories, not as dark. We'll mix in a few of those, but let's keep it a little lighter this season. Yeah,
That actually sounds like a really good idea.
that does sound like a good idea.
It does.
All right. So, thanks for joining us today. If you would like to support us, we have a link on Dashery for our merch where you'll find Bone Dragon stuff, Pixie Dusted stuff, the Real or Real podcast stuff. There'll be a link in the description for that. We'll also include a link in the description for CrojanDesigns.com where you can still find all of Bone Dragon's art stuff, horror, comic book stuff, fun things. You can get that stuff through TeePublic as well.
Yes.
Give us a like, give us a subscribe wherever you consume this content. We'd
Show us
really
love.
appreciate us. Share us with your friends. Share us with your enemies. Give us some engagement. Talk to us about what direction you'd like to see this season go in. If you'd like to be a guest on the podcast,
That
what
would be
is that-
fantastic.
what is that email, Bone Dragon, that they can send us an email?
That email is Crojan, CROWJAN .designs, DESIGNS, @gmail.com. Send us an email and tell us that you've got an awesome story, or you'd like to guess what you think is an awesome story.
We'll put a link to that also in the description. Once again, thanks for joining us. And until next time.
Keep it real.